Hello boys and girls, and welcome to this week's English lesson. This week we are going to read a fantastic story called Giraffes Can't Dance. You must listen very carefully because teacher's going to ask you questions afterwards. Remember, we are also going to be doing some phonics. I can't wait, let's get started. Let's talk about some icky, tricky words that we might find in our story. Prance. To move with bouncing steps like a horse. Munching, to eat something steadily and often audibly or loudly. Shoots, a new growth on a plant such as a young branch or a sprout from a seed. Clearing, a clearing is a small area in a forest where there are no trees. Sigh, a long, deep, audible breath expressing sadness. Breeze, a gentle wind. Shuffling, walking by dragging one's feet along or without lifting them fully from the ground. Now that we know the icky, tricky words, let's read our story together. The story's name is Giraffes Can't Dance, written by Giles Andrea and Guy Parker Rees. If we look at the title of the story, it says Giraffes Can't Dance. But what do we see on the cover of this book? What is that giraffe doing? It looks like he might be dancing. So do you think that this story is going to be about a giraffe that can dance or a giraffe that can't dance? Let's find out. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Let's quickly look at this picture. What does it look like these animals are doing? It looks like there's some kind of party going on, right? And what animals do we see in this picture? I see some zebras and lions, buffalo, hippos, elephants, hyenas, warthogs, monkeys, cheetahs and leopards, and I see Gerald the giraffe. Do you see other animals? And how does Gerald look in this picture? Does he look very happy? I don't think so. Let's read. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming, and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald," the animals all sneered. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird." Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before. So sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying and his tail was swishing round. He threw his legs out sideways and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I'm dancing, yes, I'm dancing, I am dancing, Gerald cried. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen!" Let's look at this picture. Do the animals look like they're still laughing at him? No, they look quite shocked and quite pleased. And how does Gerald look? Does he still look sad? No, I think he looks quite happy. Let's read. How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how. But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. We all can dance, he said, when we find music that we love. The end. What a beautiful, beautiful story. Teacher's going to ask you some questions now. I hope you listened well. Where was the story taking place? The setting of the story is where the story happened. Can you remember? In a jungle in Africa. Well done. Who were the characters in the story? There were quite a few, and the main characters were Gerald the giraffe and the cricket who helped him dance. But there were also smaller characters in the story. Can you remember? The warthogs that were waltzing, the rhinos that rocked and rolled, the lions that did a tango, and the chimps and baboons that did the cha-cha. Well done. What was the problem in the story? Well, Gerald couldn't dance, and they were at a party where they were supposed to dance. And when he tried, the other animals laughed at him. And this made Gerald very sad. So what lessons did we learn from this story? I learned quite a few. First, that we are all unique and we can do anything, but only in our own way. We need to accept people for who they are and be kind to people, not laugh at them for not being the same as us. And lastly, we need to treat others the way we would want to be treated. This week we are going to be doing 2 blends. The first blend we are going to be doing is the bl sound. B says b, l says l, and together they make a bl sound. Everybody say it with me. Bl, bl, bl. Well done. The second blend that we are doing today is the brr, like you can see on the board. B says B, R says R, and together they make a brr sound. Let's say it together. Brr, brr, brr. Now you can see on my board that I have a couple of words. I have brr words and bl words, but they are all jumbled up. So we are going to put them into their word families. Are you ready? So let's break them up. These are my bl words. I have bloom, blow, and black. Let's break them up. Bl, oo, bloom. Bl, o, blow. Bl, a, k, black. The other sound is the brr sound. I have broom, brown, and brick. Let's break them up. Brr, oo, broom. Brr, ow, brown. Brr, e, k, brick. Well done. Remember, we can clap them, stretch them, click them, and even boogie them.